Good afternoon. So I'm Chris Harrison, hypnotist, therapist and coach, and I help high performance people who've lost their spark and their edge get it back. I help people become the best version of themselves. So I'm going to do my talk backwards. Have you got any questions to start with? Because I'd rather aim it towards things you want to know about, or rather than me just waffling on, and I can waffle on forever if you want me to. So I'll start waffling, join in when you want. So 2020, I was a suicidal wreck. I was a business owner, I had my own haulage company, which I started in 2014. Crappy date. I've missed that bit out, that 2014 bit when I was in my 20s. I keep thinking like 2004 because it seems I was bloody 14 and I was still at school. So yeah, 2014, I started my business. Always wanted to be a driver, and that's what I was doing. Driving up and down the country, delivering anything I could fit in the van to start with. And 2 years prior to that, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. And by the time my business was just taking off, it spread to his brain. He'd got a brain tumour now, and there was nothing I could do. And that was that. He helped me what he could. But then I started my business in 2013. 2014 is when he died in the January. And that was it then. My brain knew I was on my own. Got nobody to look up to with this thing, no one to help me. They've gone, My dad was always a builder. He'd always worked hard. Always provided a wage for me and my mum. And I learned a lot of him, which took me into my business, which messed me up. To be brutally honest, it messed me up. There's this old way of thinking that you have to work yourself to death, to be honest. And it's all stress. If you imagine there's a bucket in your head, the moment you're born, the moment you die, the stress of life goes in this bucket until it's going to overflow. Could be years of things that go into this bucket until eventually it does, or it could be a couple of traumatic incidents that do it. Something else I specialise in is PTSD and removing that for people. Predominantly, I'll focus on burnout. So that's when people have got too much stress in their life. We then have the symptoms of burnout, depression and anxiety. This then snowballs. It's actually trying to do a really good job of getting you to survive, but it's doing it badly. See, if we go right back thousands of years to when we were hunter-gatherers and was living in tribes, it was our superpower. If there was no food or there was too many enemies in the area, we'd get depressed, so we'd pack up camp, we'd move away, and we'd get anxious because we've got this constant threat of life towards us. Fast forward, our brain has adopted that same coping mechanism, that same power to modern day issues. I think we can all agree that looking at your bank account isn't as bad as seeing a bear coming over to your front garden, right? But the brain doesn't distinguish that, it sees it as the same thing. So each time we've overspent, we look at our bank account and go, oh shit. And then we're like, what am I going to do now? How am I going to do this? What can I do? Oh God. Now it's become a panic. So now your brain will either go, okay, let's think about this. How can we get that better? Or more than likely it'll go, I can't answer that. We're going to hide from that. Go away, it's not there now. Or it's going to get you to run away. When we're in fight and flight mode, we get everything wrong. Our reactions to things are wrong. We can't see solutions to what should be an easy problem. And it just builds up, and it becomes our habit, our response pattern. So when it happens again, your brain will think back and it'll go, right, so last time we did it this way, we'll do it again because you survived. It doesn't care if you were miserable. This floor's doing my head in. Sorry if you can hear it squeaking. But it doesn't care if you're miserable about it. You're surviving each day. A lot of my clients who are really in the shit end of burnout can't even leave the house because their brain's sunk that much into, if you stay in the house, if you stay in bed, you can't be hurt. And logically, they know, well, I can go to work, I can do what I need to do, I'm going to be fine. But you've got two sides of your brain, your rational brain and your emotional brain. And in the middle is your amygdala that sees everything as a threat. Your emotional brain will always have the deciding say in the argument. You're saying, I'm going to be fine going to that meal out, or I'm going to be fine going to a big crowd of people, or whatever else, but that voice then will go, no, you're going to get hurt, you're going to be rejected, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. And all the crap that people have taught you over the years, and then all the crap that you've taught yourself over the years, all comes up to this shitty pattern, these shitty habits that need to be changed. And that's what I help people do. Any questions so far? So the way I work, I've got the nickname of being the Gordon Ramsay of mental health, because I basically sit in people's houses and kick up the arse, not literally, but I work with each person, each individual as they need to do it. Because to make change, we need to be uncomfortable. If we're not uncomfortable, the brain doesn't want to change. If it doesn't want to change, then it's not going to do anything. I lost my business, I lost my marriage, my house, I nearly lost my life, all because of piss poor decisions, stress, not setting boundaries in place, and just doing wrong choices over and over and over again until your brain says, enough's enough. We can't keep doing this. As I say, when we was in tribes, we'd have all packed up, gone away, started a new life somewhere else. But we don't do that in the modern world. We stay in that job that's killing us. We stay in that relationship that's bringing us down. We keep those people around us who are basically like crabs. You might have heard the story. Put crabs in a bucket, one will try and get out, and the rest will grab its legs and bring it back and push it right down to the bottom. And that's what we have in our families, our friend circles, and where we work. And we can all probably, without even giving it much thought, think of at least 3 people you can think of as a crab in your life. Some people struggle to have that conversation in their head. Who are these people in my life, and how can I get rid of them, basically? I come along like a sledgehammer, and it's quite funny sometimes because I actually do start listing people in their families or their friend circle, and I'll sit there going, dead weight, dead weight, dead weight. What happens then is their brain goes away, starts picking bits out, and it hasn't got to be a big show. You can just phase people out your life. And you watch. The ones that were zapping your energy will come back at you, but they're the victim. They're the ones now who aren't getting, because they're keeping their energy. They're getting help by using your energy. Once you've got rid of them and they've got to do their life on their own, whoa dear me, now what's going to happen now? They can't do that. I'll start saying to you, well, what are you doing? You're not a good friend, you're this, you're that, you're the other. No, it's not. They're the ones with the problem, not you. And it's getting people, and I work with people who've got businesses, and I say, right, let's look at your team. Firstly, have you got a team, or have you just got a bunch of employees that clock in, clock out, and couldn't give 2 shits about this company? And I'm blunt with them because they aren't blunt with themselves. And again, it's just like smashing that fact in, then picking it apart so they can come up with a solution that fits their lifestyle, fits them, that works for them. This is why I always say to people, I work with a person in front of me, not the label. Because when people book in a consultation call with me, they've got symptoms and excuses. Symptoms usually depressed, I've got anxiety, this, that and the other. That's a symptom, it's not an issue. The issue is why have you got that? What do we need to change in your life now for this to go away? Once we've got that, or multiple things, and we've got that, and now we put the changes in place, as you go down that path of change, you can't be depressed. You can't have these anxiety feelings that are out of control because you've got a mindset shift. It's easy to get a lot, especially with media and stuff like that. I mean, like now, we're in a recession, apparently. I don't follow it. I'm blind to it. If some prices go up, I ask myself, well, how now can I afford this thing that I want? Because prices go up, that's it, you know. I can sit there in my house getting angry about it, worrying about it, but where's that getting me? No way, it's not making my bank account get any bigger. And it's about getting people that solution-focused mindset, that mindset for them to make the change in their life. Because at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. If you're doing the same result, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same results. Even the slightest of change can make a massive result further down the road. Sometimes it's that overlooked, the simple thing that needs to be done. It's not always about quitting your job. It's not always about leaving your partner who does your head in. Things like that. A lot of business owners who I work with, it's just about getting them to have a tea break sometimes. It's that 10 minutes in the day. Because when we're working out of that fight-flight mode, that emotional mode, we're making shit decisions. And these shit decisions then go down the chain of business, even if you're just working on your own. Just by stopping, I always say to my clients, if you're getting a bit overwhelmed, make a cup of tea. Not because a drink's going to help you, it's not a magic drink, it's, although the amount I drink you should think it is, it's the act. Because you've now got to rationally think, intellectually think, water in kettle, kettle on, stand it on, wait for it to boil, put the tea, and it's a conscious thing that we go through. So then we can't think emotionally, but while we're doing that, the brains now can go, right, calm down, we've had this stressful problem, I used to do this a lot, so I had a Ford Capri, and I used to make the mistake of doing work on it. How can I get this part back off? Right, it won't come off. Go make a cup of tea. While he's doing that, my brain's now working out of a new way that I can attack this, because before I'm just going, it won't come off. Tools down the road, all the neighbours have got earmuffs on because the language is coming out. But I've gone away, I've had 5 minutes, I've come back, I've looked at it, cup, and I've gone, oh, right, okay, I'll just do this then. Done. All that anger, all that annoyance, all that shit that I was doing was not needed, you know. But that's what we're doing. We do it through life. So then we do it at home, we do it at work, we do it at business, whatever it may be. We get the anxiety levels because the anxiety is there to protect us, to keep us sharp, to stop us from doing things that's going to cause us death, basically. For instance, you stand by the road, you know these big metal objects that come along at speed. If they hit you, they're going to kill you. So anxiety is there to stop you from going road like that. But also it makes a mistake. And it takes, as I mentioned before, things that aren't life-threatening, such as, you know, if you're in here and you're anxious about loud noises, you're anxious about a crowd and stuff like that, that's because your brain thinks somebody in here might hurt me. Okay, they might do. But what are the chances? How many crowds have you been in your life that you have walked back out of unarmed? Yes, we need to have that anxiety there that keeps us sharp, protects us from potential muggers, pickpockets, whatever might be there. But it shouldn't stop us. It shouldn't stop you coming to events like this. It shouldn't stop you enjoying yourself. It shouldn't stop you going for that meal out with friends because your brain's going, oh, well, what if they talk about me? What if they watch me eat? What if they... Why are they that bloody boring in the first place to be doing that? Oh, that's their problem again. Bad patterns, bad responses. Which brings me to a couple of weeks ago, I was in this very room. My girlfriend's son does a martial art and it was his grading in here. I cannot be in a place where there's loads of kids because I hear parents and my ears tune in to them messing their kids up. Teaching them the same shitty responses and patterns they were taught. And I just sit there and I'm like, please don't, you know. And I'm shaking my head, hopefully that someone goes, what are you shaking your head for? And I'll go, right, here's who I am. Let's have a chat. And it's other things as well. And one thing that will get me, so I can ignore that bit, that annoys me, but I can ignore that bit. One thing I cannot ignore is when I hear parents tell their kids they can't do something. You can't be an astronaut, get a proper job. Think about me having a proper job. You can't be a princess, you can't be a superhero. Why not? Why not? Why Can't you be? Because all them things are irrelevant. To me, what they're saying there is they want to be successful. As soon as a parent starts telling them they can't be this, they can't be that, that's telling them they can't be successful. They grow up then thinking, I've got to... So my dad was a builder all my life. Get a trade, work in a building, get a trade. And I know because he thought that was the best thing and it'd open all this world up to me. No, I'm a hypnotist. Probably couldn't get further away from a builder than an hypnotist. But that's how he was brought up, that's how his dad was brought up, and I've broke the chain. Again, my girlfriend's son, he wants to play for Aston Villa. Brilliant, okay. Why not? They're only human beings that play for Aston Villa. But what are you doing now at the age of 13 to get you in that position, for you to be spotted when you're 16, 17, 18, whatever, and make that happen? Now you're doing nothing to do that. So now I push him to do them small steps. We all want, I want to be a world famous coach that talks all over the world and blah, 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 but I'm not there yet. I need to do one step at a time, talk to different people, open these doors. And a lot of people don't even get off their arse to open the door. Well, no one's going to open it for you. You've got to do it. You've got to get up, you've got to make the changes and get it done. And it might not work out. But we'll never regret things that we have done, even if it didn't work out. But we will regret not doing something, because there's always that, well, what if? If you've done something and you've thought, that really weren't for me, wish I didn't do that, like, for me, I wasn't being a driver. That's all I ever wanted to be growing up. I wanted to be a driver. Nightmare, absolute nightmare it was. If ever they found out what hours I was driving per day, they'd have locked me up and thrown away the key. The amount of times I was driving tired and nearly falling asleep at the wheel, which not only was a danger to me, but people around me. But if I'd turn jobs down, I'd get punished by not having work for the next month, which then would mean I struggle to pay my bills. And again, people get this fear response built into them, and if they do this bad shit's going to happen. And money is our way of surviving. We no longer go out to hunt and gather, and we get money, and the more money we have, the more comfortable we can be. Doesn't mean that we're happier, more comfortable. Having that delivery job, and even what I do now, I help really rich people who've got loads of money and they're miserable. And I used to deliver to their houses, £20 million apartments or £20 million mansions, and you look and you talk to them and it's just, what are you doing? Like, miserable? And you can't, and then I couldn't fathom it. Because now they've dragged me outside to look at their Aston Martins and their Ferraris and stuff like that. And that's all the happiness they've got, is telling people about these expensive items. And of course, I'm going, yeah, fantastic, blah, blah. My real brain's going, give a tip. Come on, you got the money, the hand in your pocket, here's 20 quid. And I'm going, yeah, lovely car, blah, blah, blah. Like, tip, come on. Because we are a selfish species and everything we do is for us. We can help people. And if people ask us for help, or we ask people for help, it is for one thing only, to make our lives easier, for them to make their life easier. I can help as many people as I want. They have to pay me for it. I can give them help and advice for free, no problem. For the magic to happen, you have to give me money. I'm a business. I was doing taster sessions for 10 quid. I had the idea of just doing simple relaxation thing, just to give people an idea. I had a girl this morning come with anxiety. I basically just dumped myself out of a few hundred quid because I just dumped a whole session there and then as quickly as I could in 15 minutes to help her out. Because I'd rather her walk away with a result now than her handing me over the fee for my program. And that's just how I am. My head now, part of it's going, well, you've just done yourself out of money now, haven't you? But the other part of me is saying, well, what if she now goes and tells all the friends, they'll not come back to me. I could make more money in the long run. And it's not bad to think that way. We need to think that way because money is our survival. We need to be comfortable. We need to be happy. What else was I going to waffle on about there? Right, I also deal with PTSD, which again, a lot of people think PTSD comes with post-traumatic stress disorder. Which I'm not actually allowed to diagnose people with, so I call it trauma burnout. And when we have trauma burnout, it's when there's a lot of trauma happened, and that one event then, whether it be a car crash or in my case, death of my dad. So we brought him home to die in the living room on the bed, and for 15 hours I watched him struggle. And personally, I believe euthanasia should be a thing, because when we had him back home, he was well past the point of no return. And a simple he wouldn't have known about it. He was already sort of gone in his head. But the suffering it would have helped, saved his loved ones from, that is, because that event, what triggered it for me was when the nurse come the next day to check he was dead and all that. He'd got one of his old-fashioned morphine drivers with a button on, and she looked at it and she said, "Oh, he must have been hitting it because he's used more than we thought he would have done." My head then went, "Why didn't you press a button?" Boom. 6 years of torment, anger, pain, and misery of this image that was haunting me in my head of my dad dying. And by the way, the image was a load of shit. It was, because all memories are lies, all thoughts are lies. And I know that image that haunted me did not happen. It was a mixture of everything that happened that night, edited into this movie. And that's what it was. This thing now with guilt, pain, shame, anger, frustration, all linked to it, it was coming to me 24/7, just haunting me over and over again. And again, people around me who I thought I was protecting by hiding away, I was just a miserable bastard that nobody wanted to be around. Nobody wanted to invite out. Nobody, and it's not for them to understand. It was for me to take charge and deal with it. Luckily, I decided enough was enough, and I thought, I'll have last Christmas with my family. And I visited my auntie. I, again, weren't telling anybody anything, because I was manning up. I'd got everything under control. You know, it'll get better. And all the other lies people tell themselves. And I went to my auntie and I just says, oh, miserable, job's crap. I fed up like. She gave me this card for this hypnotherapist. And the only other time I'd seen anything about hypnosis was when I was about 13. And I was in Fuerteventura, and there's a bloke on stage getting people to do funny things. It never really stuck with me. I never saw that and then thought, what I want to do when I'm older. So I was looking at it. To this day, I don't know why I called the man. Because I never asked for help anywhere else. I was doing everything on my own, wasn't I? I can cope. Again, old patterns taught to me by parents, by older generation. They've got it all wrong. Found him up. Right, yeah, I'm going to open up especially for you, because he was just closed up for Christmas. You need to get in now. Didn't even check I could afford him. It's well, going to be here January, so even if I had no money, it don't matter, did it? There's my money, have that then. Booked me in. Even though I've helped many people with trauma, I can still think of, opening my eyes in his chair, and I said to him, what the fuck have you done? Because for the first time ever, that image in my head had nothing to it. We can never get rid of memories, we'll always have memories. But once the emotion's gone, we don't relive it. That's why when people come to me for trauma, I'll never get them to tell me what it is. After, they can tell me all they want once the emotion's gone, because now it's just a thought. And they can stop it, start it, add characters into it, do whatever it is they want to do. It's just a thought. It's just an image. Got no emotion. Obviously, when I talk or think about my dad dying or whatever, I still get a sadness emotion, but that's not anger, pain. I don't want to be hurting people to let my anger out because I'm thinking of this thing that happens in life. And I've heard some horrific stories, sexual abuse, just people being killed, whatever else, and people have told me this laughing, because for the first time I can think about it without the emotion there. And it's hard to explain to people the power of that unless they actually felt it. So I don't. But after, and that's why I like when I get my reviews and stuff, so I can get people, or I get people to do video reviews and that, so they can tell other people how they felt, because me telling people, well, all right, I can tell you, but this person's felt it. Now you can feel this too. And that's how I work. I can't be doing with these therapists like the number one coach in the UK, or the most sought after hypnotist and all this rubbish, more marketing things. I want my clients to tell people that I'm the number one. Because I take clients from these other people who've had no result with them, and I've helped them. I'm confident in what I do. And this is why I created self-care focused therapy as a as a pain-free, effective, long-lasting, fast form of help for mental health. It's also my job to educate people that depression and anxiety isn't this illness, isn't this thing that you've got to live with for the rest of your life that's going to stop you. If you want it to, fine, carry on. But if you want to make a change and you want to get control of it, you can also do that. When you've done that, this is then your superpower, as evolution intended. And that is what I focus on, helping people achieve. And I also do lots of other weird, amazing things like remove allergies and phobias and food intolerances and all this other stuff that people have been brought up to think you need tablets for, or once you've got it, you're stuck with it, and all of this. You're not. Most of the time, it's just your brain making a mistake. That's the most powerful thing. I mean, all of us now, we could look at that and we could all have a different perception, a different perspective of what that is, why you're here. Some of us could hate it, some of us could love it, but that's your reality. Our perception is our reality. And our perception is shit, our reality is shit. But if we change our perception, our reality becomes so much better. It frees us up then to do the things we want to do, and we don't stop ourselves unless we really do need to stop it. And the only difference between shitting yourself to do something and the exhilaration of doing it is that gap. Here, you'll be shitting yourself. Well, what if I jump down there? I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, I've done it now. You can't be anxious once you've done it. Once you've done it, you've done it. I could jump off there now. I could break my leg. Could break my neck. I could really hurt myself. I could land on something sharp. Or I could just land, bend my knees, and be good. Unless I jump down there, I'm never going to know. Once I have jumped down there, which I did earlier, so I know I won't hurt myself, I know that I'm going to be fine. And because I've done it earlier, and I know I was going to be fine, still that anxiety there, you might land funny on your ankle or your knee, what else, that then is put in place so I don't, and I jump properly and land properly. And the same goes for everything in life there. Any questions? Has anybody ever experienced hypnotherapy before, or hypnosis before, or anything like that? Once? What was your experience?
It's really bizarre, actually. Well, no, twice actually. We were on holiday once. That was one of those, and I just thought, no, I don't believe this is not good. So I think we just had to have my hands like this or like this or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And then you just my hands were stuck.
Yeah.
My daughter wasn't supposed to do it because she was a child, but she was just copying us, and her hands were stuck together. She was like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And I said, no, and then he just come and tapped her, and she was like, fine, and just could release like that. So I was like, that is so scary. But then the other time was my husband and I separated, and my friend said, "Oh, come to this thing." She said, "I'll just come for one session, see how you go." Blah blah blah. So she was trying to convince me, "You do need to divorce him. You need to da 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 da." And I was like, "Oh yeah, but I still loved him." Da, 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 da. And this is so strange. The hypnotherapist says, "Tell me something that you really don't like about him." And I said, "His smelly feet." Which I just thought, and anyway, years down the line we got back together, And now, to this day, I cannot stand. It bugs me every single day. The smoke is weird. Honestly, that's really weird. I know that sounds really bizarre, but when he comes in, I'm like, "Can you wash your feet?" I can smell your feet. Don't put your trainers near the door. I can smell your feet, and it's like inbred in my head. Yeah. So it did change my
Yeah.
thought pattern. I probably need to revert him back now.
I'm going to say you're probably better off.
Yeah, that we've been together all that time. But
Come and see me after. We'll see what I could do with that.
yeah.
And again, that's
But
called.
it is weird, isn't it? And
But that
I
there
did
is
think
called
it didn't
anchoring.
work, but it did. It did.
A lot of people with hypnosis have this misconception. And again, if you was to come to me at a party and get a different explanation what hypnosis was, because I want you to have a different experience, sort of thing. There's a lot of people in the hypnotherapy world who actually haven't got a clue how to hypnotise people because they get given scripts to read to people. You're now going down a winding staircase, or you're walking along a beach, and you go drift off. That's called sleep. That's boredom and sleep. Now, if you want to pay me to read you a book, bring a book with you. I'll read a book to you. I deal with hypnosis and change work. My clients are, they have their eyes closed, they're in a state of focus because that's what hypnosis is. Focus, imagination, concentration. That's all it is. Once I have that, once we're there in the mind and they've given themselves permission to do it, just like everything else, if you resist it, it won't work. So, for instance,
I tried that at first. I
so,
tried to
yeah,
resist, yeah, totally. Tried to resist it. And then going, and then feel everything. So I was still away. Yeah, I'm tapping it. Yeah, I'm feeling it away. But it's weird. It's so weird.
it's not sleep. It's just. And what happened? I mentioned before about the rational and the emotional brain. It's the emotional brain I talk to, and I give it suggestions, and I'll have a opening where I give it a suggestion. So if you're doing something daft, like you forgot your name, whatever else, your logical brain will be going, "Well, I know what my name is. It's blah blah." But the emotional brain will be going, "No, he said we've got to forget the name, so it's gone now. Forget the name." Again, some things work on one person that won't work on another. I've done it before with people who need to know numbers, for example, because they're an accountant. So their brain will not give up numbers. So no matter how much time I tell them, you forgot the number three, you forgot the number three, they won't forget the number three because to their brain, they need to know their numbers is their method of survival. I'm not giving up that. I can talk it into them, so then I let that go. Once people have let me in and let themselves in, the brain will open up to a matter of possibilities. And what happens is we have no choice but to think of images. Am I right for time? I think so. Is to think of images. Everything is an image. The brain doesn't work in words. That's why I believe talking therapy doesn't work. To talk about something, you have to think about it, then you have to relive it. And if the emotion's there, you relive that emotion. Certain therapies out there then work by talking about it that much that the brain will numb it. To me, that's like having a big gaping wound on your arm and putting a shitload of bandages on till it's about that thick. And all right, you can't see it, probably won't feel it, but it's still there. My method is we'll get them bandages off, clean it up, stitch it up properly. Scar's going to be there, but it's going to be a nice, clean scar. Same physically, same can happen in the brain. So we have to think about images. So whatever you do now, don't think of a big red bus. We've got a picture of a red bus in the head, even if it's just a quick flick. Red bus is the label, bang goes the picture. You only know this is a chair because chair is the label. So I say the label, chair, you picture a chair. And it works that quick, so you know what thing is. Can you pass with a chair? Your brain then thinks, chair, passing chair. Just like that. Have you ever had it when you've gone outside and you've gone, oh, got my car keys, walked back in, and then stood in the living room or whatever and gone, what are you coming here for? The reason why we've done that is because your brain has gone through the whole scenario of going back in, picking the keys up, putting the keys in, going back to the car, but you haven't done it yet. So it's now your brain's now ahead of you. That's why it's stopped there and it's gone, we've just done that task. Now he's trying to work out, well, I haven't got my keys, so what have I missed here? And that's why it has got a name. Can't remember the name of it. But that's why that happens sometimes. And when we think about things that cause us anxiety, that's what we do. We run away with ourselves and we think of all this negative shit and all these bad things happening and things like that. It hasn't happened. It's a lie. That job interview that we were shitting ourselves about going to because they don't like us and they said, no, it's not for you. That meeting with the boss or whatever, and it's, oh God, he's going to sack me or he's going to have a go at me about not turning the computer off or whatever, or not bringing the right biscuits in. And it is weird how people's brains work and what they fret about. And I'll just sit there sometimes and I go, really, is that one worth fretting about? Because I have had that before. Somebody brought in a box of biscuits. Probably nobody mentioned anything, but she had got it stuck in her head that they were slagging her off, bringing the wrong biscuits in, and that's now embedded in her head. I think it was I think she did it on a birthday, and then either Christmas or something come along, and she thought, take biscuits in again, but then that voice started going, oh, what about last time when I was all slagging you off, and this, that, and the other, you don't want that again, do you? Okay, I won't take them. I probably never mentioned a bloody thing about the poxy biscuits. I probably didn't even know who brought them in. But the brain does, and I have it with people when they say to me, oh, I can't afford to work with you, and this, that, and the other, which is a smoke screen. What it really means is that voice that they're paying me to stop's now chipped in. I haven't done my bit in reassuring them that I can shut that voice up. And that voice has now gone, but we're going to need that money if the washing machine breaks or a satellite falls out the sky and lands on the car, because then we're going to have to repair that, aren't we? I might need a holiday and all of that. Sorry, I can't afford you. And then the brain goes, done my bit. We're surviving again now. We're doing the same thing with you. So you don't need his help. That's the hardest part for me, is to get over that bit so then I can help people. The easiest people to help are those who are that far gone, like I was. And I remember saying to the therapist when he was telling me what was going to happen, I says, look, you can stick pins in my eyes at this point for all I care. Anybody knows me knows, if you try to come near my eyes, you'll not get near them. Because I'm like this. And I'm diabetic, and every year I have to go for an eye test at the hospital. I have to put these eye drops in. Imagine the nurse on one of them balls at the rodeo trying to get an eye drop in my eye. I'm like, I'm trying to open it, but I can't. And that's what it's like. Luckily, there's one there who's really good, and she's literally like, done. Like, that's good. But I hate eye drops. I hate anything. If I'm walking down the street and there's overhanging branches, or I'm literally just walking like that, so I can still see. But if somebody hits me in the face, my eyes are protected. My dad lost his eyesight when I was younger, so I probably learned to protect my eyes from that. And again, a shitty response, probably, but it's not affecting anybody else. It's not really affecting my life to a point where I should say someone to change it. When we are having responses like that that is affecting your life, that's stopping you from doing things, it needs changing. And usually it can be done pretty simple, pretty easily, pretty quickly. And that's what I like to offer. Fast results, they're long lasting. And again, when people are my clients, I'm with them for life, then they've only got to drop me a message if ever they want any advice, even if it's years down the line. I'm not one of these therapists that just see somebody and then, all right, next. Not like that. My program has a maximum of 10 people a month. I see 2 people a day when it's at full capacity. And this is so for the person's investment, they're getting a private therapist that can offer them what I say I'm going to give them. Therapy sessions, coaching sessions in between. They've got the online support materials, and we work for the result. And that's basically me, what I do. And yeah, any questions?
Phobia.
Yeah, yeah.
hypnosis can help with that.
Yep. Yeah. So with phobias, again, the brain's made a mistake. Phobias are either taught to us by people or a traumatic event's caused one. So, for instance, when we were a kid, we're playing on the carpet, spider comes along, kid don't know what a spider is, and the kid doesn't care, he's looking at the spider, what is it? Parent comes in, hollering, and like, ah! That's now gone into the kid's head of, okay, so when I see one of these things with legs, I've got to act like that. And it goes on and on and on. Adult life, they're reacting this way. Well, the rational brain has developed then, and it's gone, why are you acting like that? It's not going to hurt you. We don't have poisonous spiders in this country and all of that business. The thing with phobias, whatever the phobia is, it's not about liking it. It's about getting that irrational fear response away. Birds, that's a common one. Yeah. So, again, with the phobia gone, you might not like birds. You might still never go to the oddy bush and look at birds, because if you don't like birds, you don't like birds. Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to Trafalgar Square.
Yeah.
You said, I'd love to go to Venice.
Well, there you go. So that phobia there. You want to go to Venice. That irrational response to a pigeon is putting you off going to somewhere beautiful that you want to see. Yeah. So you get rid of the phobia. You might go to Venice, enjoy every moment of it, and go, bloody pigeon, but it won't be pigeon, and off. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't even be there. So and that's what it's about. It's about. When I had a client once, she had a phobia of blood. Couldn't even look at a scratch, a paper cut, anything like that without feeling faint and so on. I was like, okay, I'll sort that out. So we did it. A week later, she rings me up. She's like, I don't think it's worked. I was like, okay, I always test these things when during a session, and I know if it's tough. And I'm like, it worked. Oh, okay, what's happening then? She's like, well, I've been watching videos all week of operations and car crashes and people with arms off and stuff and war movies. And she says, and I feel really queasy. And I was like, right, so all week you've traumatised yourself. I told you it was okay to test the response. What you've done now is you've just given yourself a brand new problem, and it's like, I said, but before you was about to pass out at the sight of even a paper cut. I says, what's going on now when you're looking at war scenes? She's like, feel a bit disturbed. I went, you're supposed to, If you can walk through a war scene and not be disturbed, you have a problem I can't help you with. It's, but that's what it is really. It's taking that rational fear response away, reprogram a better one, so you can go to Venice, you can do what it is you want to do, have an injection, help your family member who's been sick, whatever it may be. And okay, you're not meant to like it because we're not meant to like these things, but that fear response has gone. And that's the same with allergies as well. It is a phobia, but with the immune system. And the brain just sends out the wrong thing because it sees pollen, cat fur, whatever, as a threat. What's the best way for you to go away from this threat? Let's make you really uncomfortable with swellings and rashes and eyes pissing the water and whatever else. And that's why it does it. Reprogram the brain. Now you can touch cats, go outside and roll around in the field with your kids or whatever, and enjoy yourself without it being a miserable experience. There's nothing that we should ever stop us from doing the things we want to do. As I say, we should do it, and then if we turn out, well, it was a load of shit, at least you've done it. At least it's an experience, and it might have even opened new doors for something else. If we say no, if we say I can't, if we say it's not for me, your brain will just switch off and will never think of a solution to get you the result you want. Oh, that's that. I think we've got a couple more minutes.
Have you ever stabbed anybody? I don't smoke. Have you ever stabbed anybody? Yeah.
Again, smoking's an interesting one because it's never about smoking. An adult never smokes, a kid smokes. Usually people started smoking when they were a kid because the popular kids were doing it, so it's a confidence thing. They've gone to their first job and they see that people get extra breaks. So if I take up this thing, and so they've done that and they've trained that response. And that's what it's about, is finding what that response is. It's never about it. Anyone can give up smoking. Stop smoking, you'll give up. It's what you're smoking for. People do, it calms me down. That's the first. Tell you what, it calms you down. It's because you've gone from going to, well, I can teach you to breathe like that. You don't need to be giving yourself cancer doing it. You can just go, deals. And again, replace that for just tapping. If you tap your fingers, have a coin or a little Lego block in your pocket. Just train your brain to go and touch that. It just disappears and fades away. And that's what it does. It tells you, you can just, mine's that one. If I'm nervous or whatever, I'll rub my fingers. You watch Dragon's Den? Now Deborah Meaden, and you can tell she's getting excited, but she'll sit there doing this. You can tell she's getting nervous or better prospect, because now she's calming herself down. And that's a thing, when she just does it like this, she's still confident, she's still present, she's still there, but now she's doing it. That's what now. She doesn't have to tell herself, even though I'm anxious, I choose to feel calm, I'm calm, I'm calm. She doesn't go do that now. That has just triggered the brain to calm herself down. That's what she's doing. Now she can go, so why haven't you bought in your the past 10 years of bookwork, you arsehole, and stuff like that. It's and again, that's called anchoring. That's training your brain to do something new, something better, something more positive to get a better result.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you very much for.
I noticed she only had her socks on.
Oh, yeah, happy at least. She's well, thank you very much for
Yeah, thank
coming
you.
to watch, and thank you for your questions. And also, I'm just there. If you,
And is that your...
yep, that's mine. I'm on Facebook and YouTube and all that, and drop on my website. If you do book a consultation with me off my website, and you do go ahead with any programs, the middle program and top program, it's £100 off, because you've come and spent the most precious thing that you've got, your time, and listening to me waffling. So every Wednesday I do a live on Facebook and YouTube, just so people can ask questions there and then. And videos are usually put out every day that I do. So
And it's all like you do all of it.
if you're within 25 miles of Cannock, I'll come to your house, or a place that you decide you want to do. If you're outside of there, we just do it online via video call. It works just as well. The consultation is usually done over video call. That's half an hour, completely free, and ask questions that you want to ask, and then give you my fees and whatever, and you decide whether you want to go ahead or not.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much.